day. This is Francisco Nava, and today we're here with our friend Leslie. This is the next episode in our video garden series, Beyond the Gates, Gardens of Lakeside, Chapala. And Leslie, thank you for having us today in your wonderful garden and your wonderful home. The one thing that I wanted to know really most is what was here when you first came to this house, and what did your garden look like then?
So we took out tons of stuff. There was a beautiful bottle brush that I was really trying to keep, but that had to go eventually. And so the first thing the gardener did, Benito, you'll meet him in a minute, is he took out the fincas. And all of a sudden I felt like I could breathe in this in the yard. And so then we started so that the bougainvilleas that were behind the fincas could actually start blooming and coming more alive. So that was one of the first things that we did. And then we took out all of the hibiscus. It was tough because they were beautiful hibiscus, beautiful, beautiful flowers, but they just didn't go with what I wanted to do.
So your garden, as we'll see in a minute, is primarily a cactus and succulent garden.
Well, I think I call the philodendrons,
Yes.
so it has a little tropical
It has
look
tropical feel to it as well, and the palms also add to that feeling. It's a beautiful garden. It's beautifully maintained.
We have a good gardener.
You have a good gardener, but you only have one gardener who takes care of this.
Right.
Really?
And his son.
And his son, okay. And how often do they come to your garden?
3 times a week.
Okay.
He's here for 3 hours, and his son is here 1 time a week for 3 hours. And he has transformed this yard totally.
And so,
He's done a good job.
what is it about these types of plants that you like so much?
For me, what I've always liked is that the plants look the same year round. They don't die off, so you always have green. And I've always kind of been partial to that type of plants, depending whether it was in California or wherever I lived, that you had always greenery even during the winter time. So that's what I was always looking for, was to do that. My neighbor, she does have the regular honeysuckle I saw earlier this year, and I was really surprised. That was a plant that was in my neighbor's yard when I was just a small child, and we used to, take the flower and pull out the middle.
And suck the nectar out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw that it was coming over. I just saw it this year. So,
Okay.
so I like the flowers from my neighbor's yards coming over into mine. So
How long have you been here working on this garden?
we've been here about 4.5 years now, and while we were doing the house, Benito was transforming the yard, and I was surprised at how fast he got things out.
All right, well, let's go down and meet Benito and take a stroll through your garden.
He's very interesting.
Benito, muchas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros hoy en el jardín de la señora Leslie, aquí en Racket Club, en San Juan Cozalá. Quería preguntarte de esta planta, principalmente ahorita, porque tú la plantaste.
Así es.
¿Hace cuánto?
14 años.
Hace 14 años. Y me dijiste que era como 50 centímetros.
50 centímetros de estatura, de grande.
Y que le dejaste estas, ¿verdad? Para que esté
Tuve que cortar
en esta forma.
Tuve que cortar la planta, la principal, para que salieran estos brazos.
Better than me.
Y ahorita es como la planta en el centro del jardín.
Del
¿no?
jardín,
es
así
algo
es.
que se ve inmediatamente cuando
Así
uno
es.
entra al jardín.
Cuando entres, cuando se lleva uno esa expresión.
Y nosotros le decimos pata de elefante a esta, ¿verdad? Es un nombre común, pero nunca he visto una tan bella y tan grande. Así que
Es la primera.
Felicidades.
Gracias.
A ver, dime un poco de tu tiempo aquí. Ya tienes 17 años con
Así
este
es.
jardín, trabajando este jardín. Y cuando empezaste, me imagino que era muy diferente el jardín.
Así es, era diferente, tenía otro estilo de decoración.
So Benito is telling me that this plant he planted 17 years ago. It was about this high when he planted it, and now it's the centerpiece of this wonderful garden. elephant's foot plant. And Benito actually started working in this garden 17 years ago. And it was very, very different. He said it was a very different type of garden. And then Leslie and her husband came and took the house and started terraforming it, if you will, into what it is today. But Benito has been here all throughout. They've been working together, the owner and her gardener, to make this place what it is. And I think it's a beautiful, spectacular space. So this area here was primarily birds of paradise, hibiscus, plants that needed to be taken out because that wasn't part of the vision of a cactus succulent garden. So the first thing they did was remove all the plants that they didn't want, and then they started creating this kind of palette of different colors, different shapes, sizes, and they all seem to work very well together, even though they're very different kinds of plants. You have palms, you have euphorbias, you have cactus, you have agaves, you have crown of thorns, you have cycads, all these different types of plants, but they seem to be very happy here, coexisting together. So there's a fountain pool area in the corner, which we're going to see in a minute, and that also was a recent arrival here into the garden. Me dice la señora que también tenían unas tortuguitas que le pusieron. So there were small turtles in the pond, and it's a waterfall cascading type of fountain. And the palms, las palmas, fue algo que hace poco también empezaron a integrar, ¿verdad?
Así es.
So the palms have been a recent addition, integrating them into the landscape. Now we're in a corner of your garden, the easternmost corner, and there's this lovely gazebo structure that you have here that gives it a little bit of shade. I think when and if anything would grow here, such as a vine or bougainvillea or something, obviously give you some more shade. And your plants here seem to like it, the space with kind of indirect sun, dappled sun, dappled shade. Benito, dinos de este gazebo. Según eso tú lo construiste también,
Así
¿verdad?
es, sí.
¿Hace cuánto tiempo?
Hace 3 años.
3 años.
Sí.
So 3 years ago, Benito put this together for Leslie and her husband. So before here, it was kind of an orchid area that had shade cloth over it. And so you decided to take that off.
Yes.
And you decided to make this more formal structure, more permanent structure, with the idea that as the vines and bougainvillea grow, that it would cover and give more shade to the area. But originally it was an orchid space, right?
Yes.
And you do have one of the orchids from here locally. Este es de aquí de las montañas.
Así es, sí, esa la traje de aquí arriba.
I don't know where he
Yeah.
found that. You have to ask him where he found that. It
These
just
come
showed up.
from, and he said it came from the mountains here.
So he
and
brought
so we do see people who bring them down occasionally and sell them. Hay gente que los trae y los vende aquí
Así es.
en la área.
Sí.
We try not to buy from them because these are actually more endangered. And so, you know, you have one, you don't have a whole garden full of them. But mine usually flower in October. Las mías dan flor en octubre. No sé si esta es igual.
Esta la da en agosto.
In agosto. So this one flowers in August, Benito says. So it's probably a different kind than the one I have, yeah. And lovely, you know, lovely cacti you have here. Spiral cactus also in the back. Philodendron, as you call it. Variegated schefflera. So it's a lovely combination of firecracker plant in back of you, yeah, in the pot. Yeah.
This is our one shade garden back here.
And so aquí esta área es donde hay sombra. You're mostly involved with the design and the arrangement.
Right,
of the
I'll
pot.
just buy a bunch and say put these all together, and that's so.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, he's much better at getting them to grow in the pot than I am. And this cactus over here is another one that Benito brought in for us. And I have a bigger one in the front, but you brought this in.
Sí.
Esta, el otro día la estábamos viendo y tratando de identificar qué tipo de cactus es. Yo sé que cuando se... oh, your fish is jumping out of the water. They must be happy.
That means they want to mate. Oh.
Ah, okay. It's
The
mating,
orange
it's
one was
mating
jumping
season.
yesterday.
Mating season. Así que sabemos que cuando los cactus crecen, es una mutación, mutation, cuando crecen así enchinadas,
Así.
le dicen cresulated a ese movimiento de la planta. Pero así que hay otra también enfrente que,
Sí,
que está
también.
creciendo igual.
Sí.
Y para mucha gente esa planta es más rara y es más valiosa para
Así
ellos.
es,
Sí.
sí.
Así que me gusta mucho que la tienen aquí en el jardín.
Sí. Nosotros la conocemos por cactus coral.
Coral, coral cactus is the way they know it in Spanish. Yeah.
En el
Porque,
diseño.
sí,
Ajá,
como
en el
crece
diseño
como un
como
coral.
tal, sí.
Sí.
And then behind you, our pencil plant,
Oh,
I guess
this-
that
Yeah.
Benito has moved that twice now.
¿Tú qué haces cuando tienes que mover una planta 2, 3 veces? ¿Le das algo de abono, algo a la tierra o a la planta?
Bueno, aquí lo que yo hago cuando ya es una planta grande, tratarla de sacarla con mucho cuidado desde la raíz.
La raíz.
Así es, porque ese es el problema, la raíz,
Te
de
daña
no
la
lastimarla.
raíz.
Entonces cuando yo la saco o la quiero cambiar de lugar, tengo que sacar un espacio más o menos, todo dependiendo de la planta,
Sí.
de tierra.
Como me imagino que esa sí tiene mucha raíz.
Sí.
¿No? Me imagino, no sé, así de ancha y así
Más
de
de
profunda.
profunda, así es.
Así que se tiene que quitar todo eso para
Sí.
no dañar la raíz.
La raíz, sí. Y ya nosotros ya después aplicamos un enraizador también para que no resienta mucho.
Okay, so he's saying that the primary thing when you're transplanting a big plant like this 2-3 times, because plants don't like to be transplanted.
No, they don't,
right? But he's done it obviously very successfully here.
Yes.
And so he says the main thing is to make sure that you get enough of the root, that you don't damage the root. So you have to dig really deeply, you have to dig very widely and take out all that root. And then he does use a rooting hormone later on, after he puts it in, to help get it going back. Porque eso sí es un arte, saber cómo hacer eso.
Claro.
Porque si no se te van a morir muchas
Así.
plantas. Sí. Pues qué bien. ¿Y el futuro de ese jardín, Benito? ¿Cómo lo vas a seguir desarrollando?
Mejor. Mejor. Esto es mejor.
So I asked Benito, what's the future of this garden? You're going to keep developing it, where he goes, to the best ability that we can. It's going to keep growing and getting better and
He does.
better and better and better.
It's more natural, it's more Mexicano.